All right, hi everyone. Welcome to our videos here, and what we're going to display is some of the enhancements we've added to 9.7.35. It's a bit of a small release, but quite a few powerful little enhancements that we've added in. So we thought it pertinent to give you a preview of everything. So the first thing we've added is under the request locking. Now you can actually specify no change. So that basically avoids you from having to put or setting the particular state. So if you have a request or a task that actually locks a request, mid workflow or something like that, you don't actually have to keep adding that same state to the rest of the subsequent tasks. You can just leave it at no change, and it'll basically the no change just indicates don't touch the lock state at all. Just let it go through and don't touch the lock state. So whatever it was there, it just maintains that same state and capability. Okay, so now let's talk about go to the service catalog area. There's quite a few items that were added in the service catalog and our whole designer area. All right. So first thing, one thing that we've had many people ask for is custom widgets. So you can actually add your own widgets to your custom homepage. So down here you can actually add buttons. So you can add a button and give it a hyperlink or a custom active widgets. So in this case, I've got an active widget here for monitor 247, and then it's basically just displaying our homepage from the web. So if we go here, drop that in, I can go and resize it. It's a great way you can, if you need links to other external sites, if you need RSS feeds, that kind of thing. If I do save changes, now let me go over here. I'm logged on as Jill, and you can see that we've actually got our Monitor 247 Inc. Integrated website right in there. Okay, so that's custom widgets. So next thing we do is we look at, we're going to go look at the optimizations that we've added in here. Basically, we've got this page or this whole screen will load substantially faster now. Okay, so we had a few complaints with large installs where it would take a while to load. Once it was loaded, it was fine. But we've gone through and optimized the loading capability, so it'll load much faster. The other thing we've added in here is searching, so you can actually add in your own customized external search attributes. So let's just go see what that entails. So if I come in here, here's this attribute. I give it a type of external query. And my external query is, in this case, it's a store procedure, okay? That requires a cust key attribute. And then we have search text. So this is the parameter, this is the replacement text that we look for, okay? So that's one of our fields that we require. And the GUID. So the GUID is another parameter that we use. That's our session GUID underneath our session token underneath the covers. So to capture that session token, I can go help about, and then do Control-Alt-Shift-F2, and that gives me my security token right here. So I can Control-C that, close it, and if I want to do the test, hit OK, and search text, I'll just do D, and there's the information. So that's what it's spitting back out. So these we require because these are what we use internally, the IM return value and IM return display value. So this display value is what will actually display in the field once the search is complete, and the return value is the actual code value underneath. These are extra fields that you can add just to pretty it up. This is what will display to the end users if you actually add these extra columns in here. And you can have any number of external columns. I'll show you in a second what that entails. So we got the SQL, it's tested. So let's go back over here. It's added to this section. So we're going to save changes on this section. Now it's telling us that since we've changed that layout, we need to go refresh it over here. So let me just refresh and make sure that it's all on there from the previous sample that I had done. Okay. So we'll save changes here. Now I'm currently logged on. I've got my default example service catalog right here. Okay, so if I do search for D, It's going to look for those customer keys. I've got my 3 customer keys, just like how we, and remember that these are the changes or the columns that the store procedure has added in or supplied. Now, if I actually go look at the details, it's going to use that code value that was returned and go pull up the details. Okay, so now if you actually have more columns in the details, it would actually display all the details as well. So the external items details. So it's a great way you can get a list view and then a detail view afterwards. Okay, the store procedure that we have for this, let me just pull this over here. Pretty simple. Basically, it just takes a GUID. There's the cust key that we saw in the configuration. A mode is what gets passed in from our framework. So by default, it's a search mode, and then the context. So the context is another parameter that gets passed in. So down in here, if it's a search mode, then we return these fields, and there's our query. Okay, if it's not a search mode, then we're returning all the extra information. Okay, and we see the extra fields that have been added. Okay, so that's our external search. Now for the partner data exchange, what we've done is we've actually added a few things into the partner data exchange so that, let's go data exchange. We can actually parse out errors. So if we go look at this guy, edit the partner, we'll go down to the message itself. Okay, so we can see here that this message, basically it's supporting a JSON content type. We've got a JSON message in here, so we can actually do partner data exchange with JSON messages, JSON as well. You just put in your JSON message and then fabricate your JSON message string right here. And then we specify the response type, and we can actually parse out. So we put in parsing delimiters for the for your response type. So this way we can actually parse out and retrieve application level errors as well, not just HTTP level errors. Okay, so in this case you can see that we're looking for a status, colon, and then the delimiter, so anything between there, and then we actually look for valid success values. Okay, so the valid success value in this case is, that means we have to see an update between this delimiter and the end delimiter. If we don't see an update, then we know we've got an error. Okay, and then we can also parse out the error message by looking through this delimiter and retrieving the error message. Okay, and basically that way you can have this set up as a JSON message or an XML. So if we go look at this AT&T message, hold on 1 second here. There we go. We look at the XML message, response type equals XML, and basically we just put in our placeholders for the tag names that we're looking for. And valid success values, same type of approach. Okay. So any more details, you could just send something into support and we can help you out in that area. We've also added into the queue, so the data exchange queue, the consoles down here, request numbers. So we'll actually get the request information as well. So you can see error sending to partner, Rogers from. And so now we'll actually get the error description in that queue as well. Where before we had to actually go to the Windows NT event log. We've removed that dependency. Okay. Now let's go to email processing. So what we've done in the email processing. So if we go to the messaging tab in here, we've added the we had heard quite a few clients that were having an issue with if an email was sent in and it was CC to 10 different people. The request would come in, we would email back the system, but in the meantime, between the request coming in and getting consumed by Incident Monitor and sending out back to the CC list, if somebody on that CC list replied to the existing to that current email message, we would actually create a different request because it was submitted or replied to on behalf or from the CC list and not the actual originating contact. So what we've done is on the email, the inbox handler here, if you actually put in on request, it's treat email from contact with same subject line as request update. So if that is set, and we've actually got, and we're actually storing the CC list for the request as well, then it will actually look and see if that email address, it'll strip off any RE:FW: or whatever's in there, and it'll look at the original subject. If this is set and they're actually on the CC list of the request, it will actually append to the existing request. Okay, so that way you can get rid of the ticket bombs, and it'll just consume that as and set the fact that contact had updated the request, rather than actually creating a new request for them. All right, so the request linking. So we've actually expedited the request linking on the request as well. So let's go back over here. I'll close this down. So if we go over, here's our request view. There's been quite a few changes in this area as well. So we'll just go through all of these right now. So if I come in over here and I click on links, what it's going to do is it's going to allow us to do either a search or an intelligent match. So we can do the intelligent match very similar to on the new request, where it'll actually give us similar requests. And if I can highlight all of these, this is a great way now for handling kind of major incidents and such. I can just take these and drop here to make current request a parent of these selected requests, and away we go. So basically, we just link those two as children to IT 1101. All right. So real easy. Now, if I actually go look at the, let me just refresh this list right here. Okay, now if I go look at the link hierarchy on this request. There we go. Okay, so a real easy way you can now manage those major incidents in a very efficient manner. Okay, so the other thing we've got over here is we've got all of our embedded request editing and task editing. So here we can actually drag and drop files and clip for uploading. So if I just go, by default, we actually look at the default task that's configured for this particular project. You can always click on the link and it'll bring up the task list for you. Okay. But here we'll just do here and update. And if I need to add in file attachments, right, I'll just grab a PDF. Take it and drag it over here. There we go, save that. So much more streamlined. So now let's go over, take a look at what we've done in the task area as well, because we've enhanced this quite a bit as well. So now if I say add task over here, it always takes a second to load everything up the very first time. So over in here, we've got add task, we've got select resource and responses. Okay, so if I can change again, it's telling me that's the default task. I can change the task in here. So I'm going to change this task just so we can see a couple of other options. So if I do send contact update, notice how we now have the notify tab. So on the additional information, we didn't have the notify because there were no defined rules for the contact update or the contact to send. So now when I actually have the notify, I can actually go in here and start adding other people to it. Okay, so it could be an IM person, SMTP email address, or distribution list. So great way you can start. And now, once they're on the notify list, if they reply, we'll consume all of their updates onto this thread, all those updates onto this existing request. Responses. So if I have canned responses, I can come in here and actually change my or add in my canned responses, so I have access to those in both areas as well. Okay. So if you have those all set up, they also handle context-sensitive request information. So you can actually, in your responses now, when you're defining them, you can put in your macros for the request context. Select resource again, so I can actually select my resource in here. Okay. Again, basically by team, by activity level, however you want. Okay. And we'll just do Eric IT Manager. And so what's going to happen here is an email message is going to go out to our CC list, to Jim the end user, and we won't want Jim the end user, we'll probably want Jill Jones. We don't want to duplicate it. Jill Jones, okay. And we're going to send that message, and it's going to get assigned to Eric IT Manager. Again, we could have put up updates or file attachments here. If I want to actually expand this out and get all the details, I can hit this tab. I can go change dates, add in optional time, or I can just drop this down to the simplified mode. And there we go. So next on the list is we've added in a bulk import option, okay, over here. So essentially you can bulk load assets and contacts into the systems as well, okay. So we've got over here, you select it'll provide you a blank asset template. You can download that asset template, fill it in, import it back in. Same with contacts. So really easy way now to actually get all this information in. Say goodbye to those mass load spreadsheets that you require Excel or anything to be installed on your server or on your desktop. Okay, so this just works through HTTP and posts it all up. And I think that's about it. One other thing for calendaring. So we had heard quite a few people ask for this as well. So here, let's go to, we'll expand this out, go to dates. And you'll see now we've actually added the year into the calendar, so you can easily cycle through the years so right away and then get into your current day. All right. And that's it. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.